Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking one of the absolutely most intense, high-stakes stories from the ancient world. We're diving right into Genesis chapter 30, and let me tell you, this story has literally everything. We're talking fierce family rivalries, wild ancient tricks, and just an incredible underdog comeback. So get ready for an action-packed journey as we figure out exactly how a massive family was built and how a super clever strategy won the ultimate championship.
So picture this. We're setting the stage for a massive contest. On one side, we have an incredibly intense race just to build a family. We're talking about a fierce competition between two sisters where every new child is basically a point on the scoreboard, and cunning little tricks are being played at every single turn. Who's going to come out on top when sheer jealousy and ambition collide? Let's find out.
Part 1. The Great Sister Showdown.
Okay, so here's the deal. Rachel is Jacob's absolute favorite, but the source text tells us she wasn't having any children and she was getting really desperate. In fact, she was so envious of her sister that she literally told Jacob, "Give me children or I will die." Now, on the flip side, Leah is already scoring major points on the family scoreboard by having kids, but she's still locked in this fierce competition. Why? Because she's desperately trying to win her husband's affection. Talk about a massive clash of goals, right?
While the competition is about to level up, Rachel wants to build a family by any means necessary, so she actually brings her maid, Bilhah, into the race as a surrogate. Bilhah gives birth to Dan, which means he judged, and Naphtali, meaning my wrestling, honestly a perfect name for this wild rivalry. But Leah doesn't just sit back and watch. Seeing that she had stopped having children herself, she brings her own maid, Zilpah, right into the game. Zilpah rapidly adds Gad, meaning good fortune, and Asher, meaning happy, to the scoreboard. The family is expanding at an absolutely incredible rate.
Part 2. The Mandrake Mystery.
Now, right in the middle of all this, Leah's son finds something special out in the field during the wheat harvest. You might be wondering what he found? Well, in Genesis 30, chapter 14, mandrakes are aromatic Mediterranean plants, scientifically known as Mandragora officinarum, featuring yellow fruit, believed in the ancient world to be a fertility aid and an aphrodisiac. Rachel wants them so badly to help her have a child that she actually trades a night with Jacob to Leah just to get her hands on them. It's a massive, highly strategic trade right in the heat of this family contest.
Part 3. A very big family.
So because of that crazy trade, Leah actually conceives again and has Yissachar, which literally means reward or hire. Then she has a sixth son, Zvulun, and finally a daughter named Dinah. Leah's side of the family is just massive at this point. But then after all this time, the text says, God took note of Rachel and heeded her prayer. She finally has her very own son and names him Yosef, saying, "May Adonai add to me another son." The disgrace she felt for so long is completely wiped away.
Part 4. The Farming Face-Off. Now that the family is huge, Jacob and his uncle Laban have to negotiate a wage. Jacob says, "I'll go through the flock and pick out every speckled, spotted, or brown sheep and goat. Those will be my wages." Sounds totally fair, right? Well, Laban is a notorious trickster. That very same day, Laban secretly removes all the streaked, spotted, and speckled animals and hands them over to his own sons. He puts a massive 3 days distance between them and Jacob. He leaves Jacob with only the solid-colored, plain animals, thinking there is no way Jacob can breed spotted flocks from them. It is an incredibly unfair deal.
Part 5. Jacob's Clever Animal Trek. Faced with a totally plain, seemingly empty flock, Jacob unleashes a brilliant strategy. First, he takes fresh-cut branches from poplar, almond, and plane trees and peels white streaks right into their bark. Next, he places these visually striking striped rods completely upright in the watering troughs where the flocks come down to drink, and then the magic happens. When the animals mate inside of these visually complex rods, they miraculously give birth to streaked, speckled, and spotted young. Plus, he makes sure to only set up the rods when the strongest, hardiest animals are mating, leaving the weaker ones for Laban. Just a genius move.
The results of this ancient agricultural strategy are absolutely undeniable. The final score of the farming face-off is in. Jacob is left with massive, strong, beautifully speckled and spotted animals, while Laban is stuck with tiny, weak, completely plain animals. The text explicitly tells us that through this method, Jacob became incredibly wealthy. He acquired huge flocks, slaves, camels, and donkeys, leaving Laban completely in the dust. What an epic comeback.
Part 6. God keeps his promises.
So let's bring it all together. Here is some food for thought for you.
The moral of Genesis 30 is that God fulfills his promises despite human jealousy, rivalry, and manipulation. Whether it was Rachel and Leah fiercely fighting for love and status, or Laban trying to completely cheat Jacob out of his rightful wages, human beings were constantly playing games. But through it all, the underlying promise of building a great family and blessing Jacob was realized. No matter what tricky games humans invent, the ultimate champion moving behind the scenes is God, who always keeps his promises. But it really makes you wonder, when we find ourselves caught up in our own fierce rivalries today, are we trying to just force a victory, or are we actually trusting the ultimate plan?
Click the bell button, like, share, and subscribe.